Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. Ha ha. How's everybody doing this evening? Hi, Nikki. You're the first in. Hey, you just fresh off your show, and brighter day is here. Awesome information she said about Nikki had an interesting program. And hi, Shane. What up, clan? We're hanging in there, buddy. Jersey Joe. It's exciting times we're living in. So let's see, we're past the 30-second mark. They say the first 30 seconds, you got to watch what you say and watch what you do, because that's a point they really check out. You know, if you start doing wordy dirds or anything like that, the first 30 seconds or anything they don't like, it's a much bigger chance that you won't be on very long, if you know what I mean. So everybody's coming in. That's great. That's great. We got Bubba. How you doing, Bubba? B-Dog, Sin, Kim, Doc Honeycutt, Sandy, how are you doing? Debbie King, Wanda, Melinda, Miss Mendersu, Doc Ghost 84. If I missed anybody, I said Doc Honeycutt. I hope I did. Yeah, I think I did. If I didn't, I'll say it again. Master EOD, how you doing? So we all had a chance to let Mr. T's speech and the things he was discussing sink into our heads. We had a chance to ruminate on it. And there were so many issues. I think it's one of those presentations, I'll call it, rather than a speech, that's worth listening to again. Because I don't think he's talking about what he wants to do. I think he's talking about the way things are going to be. And time to spread the word. It's time to spread the word. Is this Russell Gould that Nikki had? Was he a former Navy SEAL, Nikki? I'm not sure what his position was, but he's encouraging other members of the service, the armed services, to get involved in spreading the message. And I've used the term, and we've all heard the term. General Flynn used the term. The letter that we all know used the term. And I got to say it in two parts because it's in one of those terms that they don't like on this platform. And that is, the first one is digital, okay? And the second half is warrior. And one falls, another rises. And I went over some of the posts when Mr. T said it was time to complete the mission. I put in, what our mission was, or the mission of people who want to be involved in being a digital soldier. If you all remember that, maybe I could pull that up in my pictures and read from that, because it's what we all have to do. And you remember our founding fathers had an underground newspaper, basically, called the Federalist Papers, the Federalist Papers. And a lot of them operated under pen names. They didn't use their real names. Because the concepts they were talking about at the time were considered radical by people who were loyal to the crown. And we had a very clear split in the colonies of people who wanted to continue to be loyal to the crown versus those who wanted independence for the nation. So that was in the 1770s. Didn't all just happen one year. They said, hey, 1776, let's do all this. Oh, no, they've been publishing the Federalist Papers for a long time. And discussions and talk of being an independent nation for many years before 1776. So, yeah, I decided to get in the digital battlefield this month last year when there was rumination and speculation about 11.3 in the laws of war. And I won't get into that tonight, but I had read 11.3 Department of Defense laws of war, and I saw where people were missing the mark and getting themselves unduly upset and then unduly let down because there was no military intervention at that time, 1 year after Biden took the oath. So anyway, I could go over that in a later broadcast, or I can replay during one of my lives that discussion I had with Red on a channel. I believe it's still up. But anyway, that's a blast from the past a year ago. So, but that is one of the reasons. Also, the reason is, as an American citizen, I have a duty to try to be truthful, not sensational. I'm not a clickbaiter. Okay. We want to know where we stand. We want to know what is the best thing to do. We want to comport ourselves in a lawful manner and help our leaders guide the ship of state, okay, back to constitutional waters. That's one way to look at it. So, no, I'm not going to go into anything sensational. So you can count on that. I'm not saying I'm never ever going to make a mistake, but everybody does. The last perfect person, as my father used to say, the last perfect person got crucified, right? We're all searching for answers. And if this Russell Gould can get some people to organize that are trained in information operations, that they can assist on this digital battlefield, that's great. I think it'd be great. That's right, Debbie said. When one gets taken down, another steps up. Keep speaking up. That's right. So that's what we're doing here. Hi, Diane. Hi, Shell. B. Mitch. How you doing? Marla, how are you? Tennessee. Lone Wolf. Everybody's finding their way in. Hi, Lori. I say, how you, and Miss Bender Sue, I said hi earlier. I'll say it again. Ha ha. Ingrid, how are you? And then we got our other Debbie King. If I missed anybody, do not be upset with me, because it's hard, you know. So, Gene, how are you doing? Yeah, Gene said hit the like button. Ha ha. Everybody listen to Gene. Joan, how are you? John, how are you doing? So, anyway, let me get into a little bit of what I want to discuss. And I was listening, just plugged on a video because nothing was really happening today, unless you guys saw something I missed. It was kind of a decompression after the speech, a decompression after the all the action in New York, all the talking heads, and you know, I went to search something on the net, and Yahoo News. Boy, man, the pictures they had up there. I got a screenshot of it, but when the first bit of the news feed is really unsettling pictures of people that were supposed to be Trump supporters, articles about Waco, that it was construed by New York as being sending a message of uh, uh, a menacing message to New York. And that's what they're angling for. They want to victimize themselves. That is a common leftist tactic. When they get called out on their garbage and their nonsense, one of the first things they do is try to portray themselves as victims or potential victims, and that the actions they are taking is just to protect themselves from some ethereal evil that they try to frame in an evil light. Up is down, down is up, bad is good, good is bad. But we know Jesus said, even my own followers will be deceived, he said. And we know that they will be given over to their own strong delusions. A lot of people will be given over to their own strong delusions. What's bitter will be called sweet. So anyway, when you get a climate like that, it's easy to make chumps out of people. But I heard one deacon giving a sermon. He gave a short sermon. It popped up on my feed, and I was doing something, and the show I was watching was finished. So I said, I'll click on it. One thing he said, I have to paraphrase it. He said that God's justice is just as comforting to people as God's mercy. And not to fear God's justice, even though we know he's the jealous God. You don't want to endure the wrath of God. But sin, we know the wages of sin, right? So why is God's justice just as comforting as God's mercy? Well, the answer is that a just God dispenses punishment or retribution in a just way. There's no injustice in God's justice. So you take comfort in the knowledge that if he exercises his justice, that it is good and right. And it should be just as much as a comfort to you as his mercy. So that's a very interesting statement, a very powerful statement. And we shouldn't be afraid of God's justice because we've been given forgiveness through Christ. But we have to behave in a certain way. We have to accept it, accept Christ in our lives. We have to reject, as Pope John Paul called it, the culture of death, which is living in a way that is against the word. Because you look at what we're fighting against. You look at what we're watching other people, the way they're behaving. The end result is just like that, quote, stewardess who took their own life after being celebrated and held up and put on television and get best makeup, and it was a parody, okay, of the natural condition. So that parody caused a lot, in that one instance, caused a lot of human suffering and loss of life. And sadly enough, young people get victimized. They get victimized. So the wages of those behaviors, are paid partially by that young person. So I know, Gary. I couldn't. It's hard for me to talk about that. So, because I've gone over in the past stories of a number of young people. Those of you who have been with me for a while know that I put up different people. One person, she even her natural condition, she even got taken off of YouTube, and her story's heartbreaking. But she's fighting back. We got to help these people. It is such a broad battlefield, and so many different areas that we can make a difference. And speaking up for victims of that and encouraging victims, like that young person. And the one video I got taken down it was the one I believe that finally got my channel kicked off. Was a young lady was given her witness in front of a school board, and she discussed things in detail. And she said the confusion and the many doctors she saw, the many chemicals she took all through her teen years, causing her to have facial hair, and that she was. I played her whole reading. She wrote a letter. She read to a crowd. If you all will remember that the video got taken down, and she said what saved her was when she turned to Christ and accepted Jesus Christ. She's now married. She's 2 months pregnant, or was at the time of the video. She's feeling hope and joy in life she never felt before, never thought she would ever feel. She was pulled back from the brink. So there are a lot of people that can be pulled back from the brink. But if the time comes that God's justice is exercised, and it's not up to us to exercise it, but when it is exercised, we have to take comfort in the fact, okay, when God exercises his justice, it is mercy to the just, okay, and justice for the unjust, okay. That's how God shows his mercy, by delivering justice to the unjust. So people like those young people, the young lady I just talked about, and the young man who was born in his natural condition was one thing, but he ended his life as a parody of God's creation, a parody. And it's hard, how do you survive that when your world is turned into this madness that you cannot make sense of? Remember when the demons were in man that came to Christ, or said, "Why you come to me, Jesus?" Why? And Jesus spoke to the demons inside of him. And the demon said, "We are legion." Remember? And Jesus cast them out, right? And the demon said, "Put us in those pigs. Let us have the pigs. Let us go in the pigs." And Jesus was like, "Yeah, go ahead in the pigs." I wouldn't presume to ad lib for Jesus, but maybe he was saying, "I don't care where you go, just get out of that man. I'm commanding you to get out." But anyway, they went in the pigs, right? What did the pigs do? They ran into the water and drowned themselves, because evil is so unnatural and maddening and illogical. That beasts that are possessed by the evil, they can't make sense. They kill themselves. You know. So imagine a teenager surrounded by the legion, if you know what I mean. People who don't want to come to Christ and say, I'm possessed. I'm my life. This is, unbearable. You don't know that you have refuge in Christ. You're never told that. You're told it's stupid. Or you're told that Christ forgives everything and loves you the way you are. So put on your makeup. They never add the part that I have said many times. They say, oh, he forgave the woman they were going to stone to death. So you have to forgive everything because Christ would have done that. They always leave out the part where he told the woman, go and sin no more. So you're a young person and you have these people purposely becoming a psychological barricade that a teenager cannot break down. And they can't reach Christ when they have that legion standing in the way. And the mercy for these young people will come when God's justice comes. That's why we should take comfort in God's justice just as much as his mercy. So anyway, we got to think a wide battlefield. We got to think if we see honest attempts by young people to break away from that, we have to give our encouragement and our support. We have to share their stories with people who may not be able to see through the barricade, okay, that legion of demons that are barricading their mind from the way, the truth, and the light. Okay? And they are so small compared to us in number. And as I said, when people see just how the paucity of Satan's abilities, the foolishness of his plan, they'll laugh. They'll laugh in Satan's face, just as God will mock everybody who has evil plans that come to catastrophe. God mocks them. So in this brief moment, I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but this weekend, where I will mention a person's name, okay, Bragg. He was called out by Trump. He said he serves the devil. I did not intend to get up tonight to do a sermon. I'm not sermonizing. I am taking current relevant events and comparing it to scripture, to biblical events. And I'm discussing the suffering of others so that we may collectively find a way to help relieve that suffering. And if God chooses someone to exercise his justice, not his vengeance, but retribution, God will take his vengeance later. We should support that person, and we should let our neighbors know, just like in my thumbnail, the choice. I didn't make that plural like choices. I was going to discuss the little dust up with Ron DeSantis and Trump, and the dust up here and the dust up there. I think this whole thing is showing people. What you got, the rhino policy and the radical liberals in the big scheme of how to govern. There's very little difference between them. Now, one side culturally doesn't proclaim to do the alphabet thing. The other one does. So, but that's not where we're going to make our choices on. We're going to make our choices on how we're being governed. Are we going to be governed in a rhino fashion? Is just as bad as a liberal fashion. If you violate the Constitution, you can't say I just did it a little bit, or I did it in a way that's conservative. It was a conservative violation of the Constitution. Oh, okay, that's okay. No, I wanted a liberal way. No, violating the Constitution is violating the Constitution. And if there's going to be a uniparty, it should be the Constitution and a cogent understanding of the Constitution. People should be able to demonstrate that they have a cogent understanding of the Constitution before they're permitted to be in positions of public trust. So, Pappy Two Bears, how you doing? Simpson said, just throwing it out there, my all wouldn't take it. Had to hit 2 times. Oh, my. Yeah, it's this little glitch in the system with you, Tizzle. Hi, Debbie says, Mountain Man, thank you for saying that. It's happening with my grandchildren. They see it. Praise God. Well, that's good, Debbie. I'll put that on the screen, honey. See? It's we have to communicate with each other. Communication, that is an intimacy, right? You're being intimate, and I don't know where this. I don't have anything written down. I just a note where I wrote down God's mercy, God's justice, and from there it comes out. So if you cogitate on the word, you think of the stories and the meaning of the stories in the Bible, and you see a preacher say something like that. As I was talking about one time, I was walking down the street past a church. And I could hear the preacher all the way up the street. I could hear the preacher all the way up the street. He was talking about children. He was saying, you got to love them. And a lot of you may remember that broadcast I did because I hollered it just the way he was hollering it. He was talking about how they come home late. They lie to you. They do things behind your back. You catch them and they try to play you for a fool. All the things we used to do when we were kids, right? And he said, but you got to love them. And stories like that and preachers, you take what they say and we put them in our hopper, our skulls, and relate them to our real life experiences for ourselves and for what our nation's going through. So what we're in right now, I was thinking about this as a title, but I figured out I could say it while I'm live. It's an information dissemination operation. That's easy to remember. One thing Jesse Jackson used to do, a lot of effective preachers, whether you like him or not, he would do things in rhymes that made sense. So that way it's easy to remember. I remember when my dad would give us something to eat and we weren't sure if we liked it or not, right? When you're 6 years old, 7 years old. And I remember Dad had to cook for us for about a week, I think it was, which wasn't any picnic. And he'd take his creations, and there were three boys at the table, and he'd be spooning it out, and and you're looking at it like it wasn't like mom used to cook. But he would go ahead, eat it, eat it. He'd say, it's delicious, nutritious. It makes you feel ambitious. I've never forgotten that. So if I ever have a kid around, or something, they say, what's that? I say, it's delicious, nutritious. It makes you feel ambitious. So I know if I can remember that from 7 years old, we can remember an information dissemination operation. And that is essentially what Russell Gould's calling for, with greater involvement from people in the armed services. So that's commendable. And we're calling, General Flynn was calling for it from the everyday person. So, hi, David. How are you? Bless you too, buddy. So, going with that information dissemination operation, we got to look at what we found here, a place where we're comfortable. And a lot of people that come here feel comfortable. And we discuss things in ways that are easily communicated, such as these young people that are trying to break out of the woke WOKE. Sorry, folks. So, and the people that we have to hold up as an example, a sad example, and we have to mourn them and recognize their loss, the ones who have taken their lives. So I think it's important. I feel terrible for that young fellow that passed away, and I know you all do too. It's heartbreaking. We have to tell others. And that's not the only story. There's hundreds of them. If you see it in the paper, if you can copy it, if you can grab a screenshot of the article and send it to a doubter who doesn't realize how prevalent the problem is. That you're being a digital warrior when you do that. Okay, Wolfpack, you're going to sing it to your kids. Okay, that's good. Okay, Kim, I understand what you're saying. I'm reading the chat, folks. That's why I'm getting quiet. Let's see. It's human nature to see what you can get away with growing up. That's right. It is human nature to see what you can get away with. That's exactly right. Kim says, my ways are different than yours. I leave vengeance to the Almighty, but I would like to see some vindication just human. And KYSLOL. Can I tell someone everyone's a sub? I don't know your content. It's the first time I've seen you. I welcome aboard. People can see you there in the chats if they want to check you out. But we've never met. I don't know you. You don't know me. But I've told people in the chats about another person I watch. Oh gosh, what NPC show? Man, he takes people and they're out of the chats if they promote their own channel quick. So I'm not doing that. I'm just saying be careful with that. If you go on some other channels, they might kick you out. So once we get to know each other, KYS LOL. Okay. Thank you, Gary. So I was hitting on a thread day before yesterday called about the false economy when I was talking about the battery operated vehicles and also talking about this. Oh, the other thing they say, the WOKE word now, they have said is a pejorative. It's considered an insult. You know what that means? That I have to spell it now instead of saying it. That's what that means. And I haven't seen it lately, but I showed a screenshot of the percentage of women that watch this channel versus the percentage of men. And that I had a period where I had 20% of the viewers were self-specified, or I can't remember the term. In other words, they were something other than, or something different than those two choices. And it was shortly thereafter I started getting bombed out and getting taken down, and finally had my entire channel blitzed. So I haven't seen any of that lately, and I don't want to see any of it unless it's somebody reaching out to hear what I have to say, and for me to be able to communicate to them, I am looking out for you. If you feel that you're something other than those two things, please listen to this broadcast. Please go to my Bumble channel and listen to my other broadcasts. I'm coming from a position of concern and love for you, not anger and hatred. I'm concerned about you. And for the ones who wanted to defy the word to the bitter end, I will do everything I can, and I will encourage elected officials to do everything they can to stop you from taking anybody with you. Okay, so that's the way I look at it, if there's anybody out there. And so anyway, this false economy, we don't realize how huge it is. After I did that broadcast, I thought about it some more. What they've built up over the last 30, 40 years especially, but they've been doing it for a lot more than that. They have been providing people with radical views, prime positions wherever they can, in government, technology, businesses. They've taken over Disney. Oh my gosh, what was that one article? Just an example. They've taken over Disney. They've taken over Marvel Comics. They've long ago took over Hollywood. They've taken over National Public Radio. The White House staff, when Trump took over, was infested with entrenched bureaucrats. The bad part is, yes, that they're negatively influencing public opinion and pushing these programs we don't agree with. But the real thing we're missing, or not us, but a lot of people don't realize, is the economic strength it gives these people. You can believe that those bureaucrats, those people being hired as a gender diversity hire in a big company, they are living way better than you and me. And they'll go up a ladder way quicker than you and me. They'll have a lot more money than you and me. And with money comes what? Influence. Influence. So I started to think about it. Prior to last night's video, I went off on a different tangent than this false economy. But when you really sit and think about it, how much economic power they have given to supporters of their radical agenda. That's given them a lot of power. They make their supporters powerful, it makes them powerful. But you see, Mr. T doing the same thing. Okay, he's emboldening, but he's doing it in a way that we're way more confident to speak out about what's going on. We're more sophisticated when we speak out, which when you know what you're talking about and you know it is right, you feel empowered. Aren't I correct? So that's why I don't talk about things that may or may not be. And if I'm wrong, I'm kooky, because then how many creators have you seen make fools of themselves for clicks? A lot of them, they brush it off and they get right back on there and keep broadcasting, even though they made fools of themselves. But where the damage comes is the people that follow them going around repeating to their friends something stupid that doesn't come true or is proven stupid. And those people don't listen to their friends anymore because they say, you have been stupid. So that's where the damage comes. I don't want to say things to people that they'll repeat that will discredit us. So Mr. T is putting things out in teaspoons, it seems like, but stuff that's easy enough to swallow that we can repeat in a sophisticated manner that will get other people to see and understand. And he made a big statement. It was either us or them, essentially, is what he said. That if we don't destroy the DS, that's another term I got to be careful with. WOKE's one, and then the first word is deep, and the other word is state. If we don't destroy that, they will destroy us. So I think this dance he's doing with DeSantis and anybody else that is in the old rhino crowd, the neocon crowd, is to show just what I said earlier. It is a choice. It is not multiple choice. There is a choice, good or evil. Okay? Just like Putin said, you're either with the West and Satan or you're not. It's just that is simple. So, and we got to boil it down to that in our information dissemination operation. So, anyway, this false economy is starting to crumble. I want to talk about that in an expanded sense, but I got a couple articles. We all know Disney's lost tons of money. They had a lot of people arrested over the past year or two, but they're not backing down. Disney to host the world's largest alphabet summit, largest conference in the world. That was announced today, and they have a rainbow bunch of balloons spelling out the word Disney with a supposed rainbow over it. And I'm gonna call it like it is. They're blaspheming the meaning of the rainbow. And that is a simple term that we're saying, oh no, they're not. Somebody says, well, I don't see anything wrong with the rainbow. And you say, well, remember, it was God's promise that he would not destroy the earth again because of people sinning, right? Well, it's blaspheming. They're saying it has another meaning than what you were taught in Sunday school. So there's nothing radical about that. It's a fact. They're going to, believe me, they're going to push for the point to say that the Bible is radical. They already are saying that. So they're going to pay the price economically. And as far as the price they really should pay, that's coming. And as we know, in God's time, in God's time. So the other thing, I mentioned NPR. You know how many woke people are working there? You know, NPR was on. I was listening to it on election night, which 2016, which turned into election morning, right? 3:00 in the morning. And as I remember what they were saying and doing to drag this out. Listen, any reasonable person by 9 p.m. that night, November 2016, any reasonable person knew Donald Trump won. It was a lock. He already won. And they drug it out with the most ridiculous calculations that had to be coordinated. Had to be. And that's our tax dollars, NPR. And the point and the purpose of it was to deflate the victory, to deflate and demoralize Trump supporters. They never, as I said before, they never gave us a day to celebrate. Our day to celebrate is coming, believe me. Our day is coming. But that night they did not do it. But they're using our own money. And you can guarantee there are people in positions in NPR, just like every other government agency, that the safety and the superiority and the snotty way they deal with elected officials who are conservative, that day is coming to an end. They're going to be out, and already starting, not politically, but economically. NPR says it laid off 100 employees as company faces a $30 million decline in revenue. Employee layoffs mark one of the most recent staff reductions in the company's 53 years of operation. So that's just the beginning. And there's going to be a lot more people getting kicked out of this false, powerful economy. Yeah, Smoke Rise, you're right. That's pretty close to the way it was. Yep, I agree with all of that. Where is Donna? Did Donna make it in? Oh, I got to say it. Well, I'm coming up on my hour, but this is a viewer-supported and creator-supported channel only. I have a link in the description for Buy Me a Coffee. Anybody wants to help an old man out. And channel support link in the description. I put that up, and I want to thank everybody that's helped me. There's some in the chats right now that helped me, a lot of you. Gary was really knocked me flat the other day, and I do appreciate it. Your help, Gary. And here, I'm pecking away here, and I'll put up this list of supporters. Everybody can see through the year who helped me out. Most recently was Gary and Debbie Webby, and she really helped me out quite a bit too. I'm be working on getting me a laptop, and I'll see what I can try, kind of trouble I can cause with that. And then I got the Godfather Aaron. He's he had a problem with his little puppy. Same time I had problems with Sadie, but I understand that's all coming around good. Then we got Robin, Kirsten, Wanda, Tennessee's in the house. Sandy's in the house. So we got Norman and Dory, Pamela, and Nikki B, Diamond Lil, Camperman, Simpson, Mary, Lone Wolf, Mac, KNS Cleaning, Killer Fuzz, somebody one, somebody two. So, anyway, I do appreciate it, but I got to show my appreciation, folks. And I wanted to say, yeah, we lose about 20 people every time I do that, but I do show people who has been helping out, not because it's appreciated, it helps to get the word out. But I wanted to talk about what Russell Gould, one of the things where trying to get people to do do broadcasts is that it's not easy and not everybody can do it. That's one thing. People have to have the confidence. They have to understand what kind of message they want to do. And the problem is when you do have people that start to do broadcasts, they feel that they have to bring out some secret or they have to have some fantastic special information and to be seen. And that's when you get in trouble. You kind of step in it a little bit, or you have people that are just trying to get clicks, and that's not a good motivation. Okay, so we'll plod forward because if we, like I say, we support people who are like groups that are helping young people that are discovering that they have been duped. Okay, groups like that. And of course, our favorite president. He said anybody that was working for Ron DeSantis was persona non grata in his campaign. I mean, he's not wishy-washy. He tells it like it is. Roberto, how are you doing? Welcome aboard, Smoke Rise. Oh, good night, Smoke. Okay, you get a good night's sleep. It was nice seeing you in the chats. Larry, how you doing, Larry Schultz? You have to go back to begin. I talked about some interesting things I think you'll really like to hear, Larry. So everybody everybody's dripping out. I got a few more things to talk about, folks. Anybody got any questions or anything they thought about Mr. T's talks tomorrow? I tell you, I haven't seen Honey from UK, but she made a comment last night that the word stolen, I pointed out that was a German bread, where Mr. T supposedly misspelled stolen, S-T-O-L-E, and he put two L's in there, stolen. And she pointed out, well, that means bread, and bread means money. Remember that, folks? Give me some bread. Lay some bread on me. So that's a good point, that he could be putting out a little few words. And what did I say? That I know what I'm talking about. International money laundering. Okay. Stolen. And bread. Okay. German bread. Just something for you all to think about. I'm not talking anything fantastic, but this is real. Louis Gohmert came out and confirmed what a lot of us was hearing, that there was a special action in Frankfurt, Germany, right? And it was something to do with a raid. Unfortunately, we had some loss of soldiers. And Louis Gohmert even reported on it. And there were other sources that said the head of the C.I. and last letters A, at the time Gina Haspel was there, and that she was wounded. And it was servers, okay, in Frankfurt that were apparently doing some funny business. And Mr. T said just a couple of rallies ago, people would put their VOTE in for me, and it would go boop, boop, bing, bing to different countries That's the way he did it. And when it came back, it said Joe Biden. Boop, boop, bing, bing. So was that a raid on one of the boop, boop, bing, bings? Okay. And Gina Haspel's gone. They say she retired. The other reports were she had an injury to her foot. Okay. Is she in the same rehab as Mitch McConnell? Just asking. Since they're government employees, maybe they got the same benefits, go to the same rehab. If she didn't get her foot hurt, maybe she had a lot of stress and worry, like Fetterman. Maybe she's, in the same treatment center as Fetterman or Dianne Feinstein. I don't know, folks. Just something that, if you remember that special operation Louis Gohmert told us about, our congressional representative that happened in Frankfurt, Germany. Boop, boop, bing, bing. Comes back Joe. So that's the kind of stuff that you can talk to people about because it was confirmed by a representative of the U.S. government, Congressman Louis Gohmert. He is still serving. And nobody ever proved him wrong. And, the other thing about that sword dance I was telling you about, when's the last time we had any kind of military business with Iran? I'll tell you when it was, since we're running out of time. I promised I'd keep it down to an hour. Nikki's had a long day today and a long day yesterday, and I had a long day too, a long week. But anyway, I'll tell you the last time we had a interaction with Iran was when Soleimani got wiped out at the airport, okay? And like Ted Cruz said, the only way we could identify him was through the gaudy ring he had on his finger when they found where his hand was laying, all right? And what did Iran do? Nothing. Who ordered that? Donald J. Trump, okay? So now, here we're in a situation. Tell me Donald Trump didn't get a sword dance that he's leading. He's the leader of an Arabic coalition, okay, headed up by Saudi Arabia, which just made a peace accord with Iran. But now, Iran bombs Americans, but they're not supposed to be where they are. They were ordered out of there. They are technically unlawful combatants, so they're not protected. And do you see a strike back? Do you see anything going from Joe or John Kerry back to Iran? Was it an illegal base of operations taken out? So that's not flights of fancy. It's all in the news. It's all reality. Soleimani got it. Okay. They did what they did to our bases. It's been reported on very little. There's nobody jumping up and down trying to get Joe Biden in. The media's not jumping up and down for him to go in and send thousands of troops and do a Desert Storm free. No, it's quiet because they weren't supposed to be there, I believe. And a black site, I'll say, taken out. So, folks, I appreciate you all being here with me and spending your precious time with me. And I appreciate, hey, you might want to listen to Mr. T's speech again. Maybe listen to a few of my points again so you can hone it down where you can speak with your friends. I appreciate it if you do that. And I hope I get to see you soon. I will broadcast again tomorrow, because we're going to see what New York is going to do in retaliation for their humiliation, as I'm rhyming like Jesse Jackson. So anyway, folks, you all have a great night. And this is Mountain Man, over and out.